Routing. That's a really interesting thing about routing. So far as I figure out, I can route signals from anywhere to anywhere in this soundboard. So let's start with home section. So first of all, we're assigning inputs. So basically each input, like for example, the section like group of first 8 inputs could be assigned from local converters, which again divided by in groups by 8. So local 1, 8, 9, 16, 17, 24, 25, 32. But we can also use AES 50 protocol, which basically comes through the back via, like for example, you have Digital Snake, which feeds the signal via Cat5e, which is come over here. So groups are the groups of 8 are independent and could be reassigned for the board really quickly by just scrolling that down. Another option, which here called card 1, 8, 9, 16, which I didn't notice at the beginning. The board comes supplied with a sound card, which has USB and FireWire connections, which allows me to feed the signals, whatever I choose, to and from the computer from my DAW system, whatever, digital audio workstation, whatever it is, Cubase, Pro Tools, whatever you wish. So pretty much we can send simultaneously 32 channels to the computer and get 32 channels back. So pretty much for a recording unit, I can get rid of all my sound cards and just use this thing. That would be absolutely great thing to do, and should be work really fine, even though we haven't tested the quality of recording, but it probably would be pretty much the same what you hear right now. So we have, as we went through inputs 1, 8, same input 9 through 16, 17 to 24. So basically they independently assigned, as well as auxiliary inputs, which are on the back. By the way, as assignments of the auxiliary inputs, they don't, if I will switch to this and select and go home, they don't have some of the features. So far as we see, the only thing they have controls of input phasing changes, they have EQ, and basically sending the signal out. And as well, what other controls I have, I can send it to different DCA groups, mean subgroups. We can assign it to mute groups. And pretty much here we can assign which channel works for auxiliary inputs 1, 2, 3, whatever. So on the top of that, when anything is selected, and if I can control the bus sense, so pretty much let's go back to one channel which I'm using. The bus sense indication shows on home screen as well. So if I'm adding that to bus 1, so we can see how much mix, how much sense, graphical representation, the levels, how much I have sounding to the buses. So which is really good to go, so I don't have to jump through the menus. So going back to routing, this is assignment of the inputs. Next, assignment of the outputs. Each output of those 16 XLR outputs plus 6 1/4-inch jack outputs, which are assigned for insert section, could be assigned separately. So for example, here starting from input 1, output 1 is not assigned for anything, but as far as I know, master section, what you're hearing right now, it goes through output 15 and output 16. It selects left and right. And we have actually here like little line arrays icon, which basically showing up over here on the master section. So again, we can change the icon by just going via utility assignments, which we'll get to this later. But so far, these outputs can be assigned not only to the certain signal path, we still can reassign it if it goes pre-fader, post-EQ, pre-EQ, or post-EQ. So far, it's selected for post-fader. So if I will change the fader levels over here, you can hear the difference of on the recording right now. But pretty much that's how you assign the main outputs. Otherwise, all the output could be assigned. For example, we can assign the mix buses, like for example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 16. So far is by default, each bus output, bus send take the output through those XLR outputs which we have on the soundboard. The thing is, it allows us to do some shortcuts as well. So if we select this one, direct outs, direct monitor. So each output can be the feed for each output can be taken from anywhere in the board, even starting from direct input from each channel, whatever I decide to, or going from post fader to the master fader. So they will work. Here in this section, we can actually designate the auxiliary outputs as of right now. So far, I send to auxiliary outputs, I send my controls, which comes from the matrix, just to control the monitors in the studio. So first two control, and I link them together. First two control the one, like this Yamaha's over here. Second, control this two KRKs. It's basically 3, 4, and 5 controls my subwoofer. So which absolutely great. And another good thing for that, I can select this channel and adjust the EQ out there. So or dynamics, whatever I prefer. So for example, if I don't want to give my EQ all the entire range, here we go. I cut the high end, and we're good to go. So the good quality about this EQ is actually for these matrix outputs. This is not like input channels, which has 4 parametrics of bands. This one has 6 parametric bands, so pretty much you can do whatever you wish. There is another good feature. You can still use insert in here, which I will show later, and assign one of the effect processors which built inside of the board, where graphic EQ is included as well, 31 band graphic EQs. You don't like parametrics, you can use graphic EQs and adjust your frequencies any way you want. So how about throwing away the speaker management system and just use this board? I think that would work absolutely great for you, because you have such a versatility and you can control everything from this soundboard. Going back to routing, so P16. P16, it's an interesting thing. That's a protocol which they introduced to use their PowerPlay series of devices which designed for monitoring. So I have 2 examples of them here, to which we'll return a little later. So here we have PowerPlay P16M, which is the kind of an individual mixer for musicians, whatever on the stage, and we have a distribution box for this, which works pretty much like router, I would say, and external power supply. We'll get to that later in one of our videos. So basically, the good part of it, via Cat5e cable, you can run 16 independent audio signals to these little mixers, where each musician can make its own mix, whatever they like to do. The good thing of this too, as well, that here I can assign which input goes to which input of the PowerPlay system. So for example, here now they direct it as direct outputs, directly assigned to the input channel. So for example, input 1 goes to the input 1 in this little mixer, 2 goes in 2 accordingly, and so on. The good thing is that I can select actually if it goes pre-EQ or post-EQ, pre-fader or post-fader too. So each signal that goes to a little mixer can be routed in any different way. So like sometimes, for example, if I'm routing the drums, I would rather send them pre-fader but post-EQ, post-dynamics So the drummer will hear not the sound that picks up by the microphone, but already processed sound, which was absolutely great. Otherwise, maybe somebody don't like it. We can do it straight from just absolutely clean signal that comes to the input. Really easy to assign. Other ways, other options include not only direct feeds from input channel. We can also select it from, we can feed them from mix buses. We can send them from matrix. Or we can select, so basically there is three options. Or we can select even auxiliary, or from direct out effects, from monitoring channels, or whatever. So basically it's so versatile. We can assign each channel of the monitoring system to any point in this board of the signal path. So huge capabilities of basically doing whatever you wish and accommodate any taste. So next, card out. This is an expansion card which currently installed. It's a FireWire USB card. And again, here we can feed the card output from local channels, whatever we do, or to AES-50, or to back making a loop from from the feed from the computer, or from any of the from the groups of P16, basically from a power play. So, for example, if you want to record whatever whatever monitoring system they have out, the signals or whatever, or we can control auxiliary or monitor sends as well. So pretty much the variety is pretty much endless. So we have, again, in groups of 8, all 32 channels are divided, so we can select different things. So AES-50 tab shows us what signals sending back via Cat5e to the digital snake. So again, the sources coming from anywhere. Either they're going through back from inputs, or they're going from the computer card, or they're going from direct inputs, or whatever. So pretty much any bus. So, and actually AES-50 has 2 lines, and each one supposedly support up to 8 channels. So 96 channels of AES-50, I think it's more than enough for this size of the board. I'm not talking we're making the sound in the stadiums, right? So here will be the second one.